Hey everyone. So yesterday I had a doctor's appointment and I've been waiting to see this doctor for about like over a week. It's basically, it was for my OBGYN. And I always struggle with finding a good OBGYN. Usually I just kind of went to whatever doctor my mom made me go to, but now that I'm like independent, that responsibility falls on me. And it's like really excruciating to get like my basic needs met because every single OBGYN, for the most part, I mean, with the exception of maybe like one, has been extremely judgmental and has like made me feel really, really uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I feel like the vast majority of OBGYNs that I've like had consultations with or that I met with to try to, get birth control or something, like just gave me a hard time. And like I get why, but it's so weird because it's like I'm the patient and I'm trying to make a decision about my body and like why why does this need to be so personal and like so judgmental? I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these doctors do not live in the real world. Like I don't know where the fuck they come from, but like it just feels like they were like raised in extreme religions. So I don't care if it's like Islam or Christianity or whatever, all the religions that teach that like you need to be pure, and if you're not, if you're experienced sexually in any way, including masturbation, that there's like something wrong with you psychologically and like you're going to hell, basically. I feel like they were raised that way and then they like went to school and they did all their medical stuff and like they just never experienced life, which I know is a lie, but like that's the way they act when I meet them. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're putting on the act or if like they're really like this because they seem to act like people, like the general public, and non-sex workers and non-gay people, like the regular cis-normative, like heteronormative, monogamous peoples. They act like those people are safe and like they aren't gonna get HIV and like they don't have unprotected sex ever. Like they just seem to like they seem to act like using protection is like the norm in our society. Um and I just don't think it is, including getting tested regularly. Like I just don't think the general public usually does it. I'm not saying that to like be judgmental or mean. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think it's true. And I think even if you give me numbers, I think those numbers are bullshit. And here's the reason why. A lot of those like numbers are surveys, right? And people tend to lie when it comes to sex or their sexual practices. So yeah, I feel like when it comes to like sex and using protection and stuff like that, people who are part of the LGBT community or people who are sex workers tend to be more honest. You know what I mean? So like those people tend to will be the people that will tell you that they have something, will be the people that tell you that they don't always practice safe sex. They're gonna be the honest ones. Whereas somebody else who isn't a member of those groups, and who fits more into society tends to lie in order to keep their little privileges and to avoid like shame and stuff like that. That's just my personal opinion. I may be wrong, but I'm just gonna tell you what happened at this appointment. I'm sorry, I'm like ranting. It just really, it annoyed me. First of all, I have insurance, so it's okay. So I have insurance through my parents, obviously, and I'm gonna lose my insurance this year because I turned 26. So I scheduled, this appointment, and it was kind of far away from me, but unfortunately, like I couldn't find one that was like really, really close. So I go there and I already know what I want. I want an IUD, which is to prevent pregnancy, and it prevents pregnancy. I forgot how long it was again. But yeah, it's a thing that's inserted up in your cervix, and it prevents pregnancies. Awesome. I also wanted to get a prescription for PrEP, Truvada, which prevents HIV, which is pretty nifty to have if you're, being promiscuous, or, you're just paranoid and afraid that you'll get raped and like, whatever, like it's a crazy world, anything could happen. So I just wanted to get Truvada because like I have good insurance, my insurance is going to pay for it, you know. And without insurance, it costs like $2,000 a month to have it if you don't have insurance. So it's crazy expensive. But again, it prevents HIV. So like I need, okay? Like I'm a sex worker. I need that, okay? So I go and get it. That's why I'm there, to like prevent pregnancies and to prevent HIV and to do as much as I can to keep myself safe, right? So yeah, obviously I don't disclose that I'm a sex worker. It's just, we're just not doing that. And I was probably right to do that because she turned out to be one of the most judgmental doctors I've ever had. I've been lectured by doctors before, but this was like the worst. It just, the whole session was her lecturing me. So I go in there and I ask her for what I want, and just like immediately she says no. I'm just like what? She didn't even tell me. You know how most doctors, like when you tell them about a procedure you want done, they'll usually go into their whole like, okay, so here are the cons, here are the pros, here's the risks involved, and blah blah blah, and then explaining what it is and like the procedure and yada yada yada. She didn't do that. She like straight up said no, and that she wasn't gonna do it because XYZ, and then she just proceeded to lecture me. I don't know. Okay, I do know why. Look, I understand that like when people see me, they tend to think that like I'm a good girl and I'm gonna wait for a husband until we have sex. And a part of this is the way I present myself. I tend to like clothes that look like, well, not like this. I usually dress more conservatively outside, which I guess is kind of conservative. But yeah, I usually wear like dresses, usually have no makeup, and people tend to like associate someone that looks feminine like me and who's pretty and well spoken and you know grew up in like the suburbs, and they tend to associate us with like people who are gonna like be stay-at-home moms or whatever. So like I get like into weird conversations with people because of like, because they see that in me, like they think that's what I am. And then when I kind of, you know, kind of make it like really clear, like I'm a whore, I fuck multiple dudes, I don't just date like one person and I'm gonna marry that person. Then it becomes awkward because then they think that I'm fucking to find the perfect guy to marry, to fits like all my requirements, because you know, I'm a woman that's gonna play the field until I find the guy that's like rich and hot and like all. I don't know, man. I just like it's weird, but like that's the kind of thing that she was telling me, and she was literally telling me this. Like she was telling me like, yeah, I know how it is. You just want to make sure that when you meet the right guy, he fits out all your requirements. Good for you. I'm just like, okay. She just like started going into these weird scenarios that I just didn't comprehend. Like one of the scenarios she told me was that, well, actually, let me just tell you why she said no. So I think the first thing I asked for was for the IUD, and then I asked for Truvada. So for the IUD, she said no, and that she wasn't comfortable doing it for me, and that she probably wasn't going to do it because it wasn't for people like me. It was for women who already had children and didn't want to have another one. And this was the most bullshit excuse she gave me as well. And this was like the main one she focused on was, okay, so the problem with IUD is that it'll give you a lot of freedom. Like you won't have to worry about pregnancy for like 10 years. So you'll get a lot of freedom, but then you might get loose. So, you know how it is, like you're out, you know, hanging out with somebody and you start, you know, you drink and, you know, because you have so much freedom and because you have the IUD, you think you're good. So then you might decide to not use a condom. And she's like, in my experience, women who have IUDs are more likely to have unprotected sex. So, you know, I can't get an IUD to prevent pregnancy for 10 years. I have to keep spending money on birth control pills. I have to keep spending money on the morning after pill and all the other like birth control stuff, and I have to deal with the anxiety of like, holy shit, I could get pregnant any second. I don't know. I've never gotten pregnant. I've never had an abortion. It hasn't happened yet. But like, I have to live with the paranoia. And this person's just like, yeah, it's too much freedom. You might have unprotected sex. Oh, I can't do it. No, you have to be married and you have to have had already babies. And I fulfilled my baby making quota. Like, it's such bullshit. So for Truvada, it was like even worse. Oh my gosh. Truvada, prep, whatever. I use them interchangeably, but whatever, I don't know. Yeah. So basically, anyone can use it, although it's mainly associated with gay people, because gay people are associated with HIV, even though anybody could get HIV. Whatever. So obviously, like, I want it to prevent HIV. Duh. So, like, I tell her that it's just a prevention measure, like, just in case. Because, like, even with condom, duh. So, so she's like, no, you see, that, like, she has all these requirements for every single thing. So for Truvada, it was like, oh, you can only use that. Those are for people who are married to somebody with HIV and they love them so much, or like they're dating someone with HIV and they're in love, so they go on PrEP, and that's who it's for. It's just like, and literally she asked me about my sex life, and I was trying to, I thought she was just asking that, to like give better, medical advice. But no. So she asked me approximately how many partners I have. So I tell her, and she gets weird. Obviously. I don't have like a lot. I don't see a lot of people, but like I have like more than one, obviously. Yeah, it was really bad. Oh my gosh. So yeah, she's not gonna do shit for me, and I basically went there for nothing. Imagine what it would have been like if I had no insurance. I lost my train of thought. That's like why I did that. I'm trying to remember what she said about the Truvada thing. But yeah, she basically said that it wasn't for people like me, and that it was basically for people. Oh yeah, and now I remember. She said it was only for people who were monogamous. Like okay, so only monogamous people apparently want to prevent HIV, was what she was telling me, because she asked me how many partners I have, and she's like, yeah, I can't give it to you because it's only for people who are monogamous and who like have a partner that has HIV, because it'll fuck up your body or something like that, because it's hormonal stuff. I don't know, maybe I guess I went to the wrong place, but like it has OBGYN in the title, so I don't know. It feels like it was a Christian group, because only Christians don't believe in contraceptives and are like, oh, you don't want to fuck up your body with all those chemicals, do you? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're usually the kinds of people, and they'll act like medical professionals too. So I don't know. I mean, it was a legit office. They were gonna test me for STDs, so I don't know. Dude, what the fuck? Like, I just don't comprehend what I even like experienced, or like the things she was telling me, because I knew they were wrong. Because it was like, people go on PrEP to prevent HIV. Like, it's not just gay people. Like, everyone should be on PrEP if they can afford it. Like, it makes sense to be on PrEP. Like, if you... And, like, why would only monogamous people want to prevent HIV? Like, it's so stupid. And the fact that, like, we are told that we shouldn't do prevention, like, basic prevention for STIs and pregnancy and all those things, because, like, I don't know, the world could end, and we might suck 2 dicks, and like we might like have unprotected sex one time. But like, bitch, like maybe that's why we need to have prevention measures in the first place, because shit happens. It's a real world. Like, the idea that like everyone is practicing safe sex and getting tested, like that shit isn't real. Like, I get tested regularly, but most people I know don't. So like Like I don't know, I feel like they don't live in the real world. Like I do, and it's so weird to me because like their patients must feel so awkward to go in there and have to like lie to their doctor and have to like lie to get like really basic care that we should be entitled to. Like what the fuck, like I'm paying for this. My mom has to work a shitty job so that I could have insurance, so her children could have insurance, and we're just like being denied care just because like, oh well, you have to be monogamous if I'm gonna give you this prevention for HIV. Sorry, you're too much of a whore to get it. Like what the fuck. So yeah, really bad experience. I'm so annoyed, but I, you know what, I get it. I get that we live in a society that just kind of, they think that HIV is like an LGBT thing. Like they really think that. I heard of like a really wealthy billionaire conservative dude that like, he was very obviously very anti-LGBT, um, and he would donate to organizations that were anti-LGBT. But like to make up for it, after he got a backlash, he actually donated to an HIV program thing. And I thought like how fitting, because you know, obviously like bigots have to associate HIV and HIV prevention and HIV programs with gay people, and that to them is bad. So like you as a straight person should not try to prevent HIV because that's not what straight people go through, that's a gay thing. Like what the I'm so, I don't know, man. Like I feel like people outside the sex industry like terrify me. Like they literally terrify me. So now I have to make another appointment with another OBGYN, and hope that like this time I find a good doctor that'll just be like, "Okay. Like dude, it's easy money. Why would you say no?" Like, you know what I mean? Like if I wanted to get my boobs done tomorrow, right? If I wanted to drop 4K to get my tits done, I bet you those doctors wouldn't give me shit for it. But you know, oh, you want to prevent pregnancy? You want to prevent HIV? Oh, well, is it because you're such a slut that you want to do that? Like that's how it feels, honestly. Like it feels like our society is so like centered on appearance and like controlling women that they're okay if you like change your appearance or like, you know, get plastic surgery, but as soon as you try to control your reproductive rights, no, you can't have that. Okay, anyway, I'm done ranting. Thank you for listening, because I'm so tired of like going through this every single time that I just like want basic contraceptive and safety. Like it's really it's bad out there. You know, it's really bad out there because a lot of people do not practice safe sex, and like it's really dangerous. And the fact that you can't even take preventative measures because there are people that just don't believe in prevention at all, and like believe you shouldn't use any kind of like birth control at all. Like it's just not fair. Okay, bye.